Welcome back to Mother Whitney's Guide to San Antonio. Today I wanted to talk a little bit about that most famous building in San Antonio, the Alamo, and debunking a few myths. So first of all, the Alamo is more properly known as the Mission de Valero, which is where we get the gas station name from, of Valero, but it became called the Alamo. So the Alamo is actually located right in downtown. If you walk along the Riverwalk, you can see it. And consistently, what people are surprised by is how tiny it is. The Alamo used to comprise an entire massive land base that downtown San Antonio has been built around since. And now there are things around it like a Ripley's Believe It or Not wax museum and a bunch of tourist stores and all these kinds of things. But the Alamo itself as a mission has a couple different collections. The first are the Daughters of the Republic of Texas have spent many, many years collecting many different artifacts from the Alamo. And there's actually one random famous person who was obsessed with the Alamo, who is the British singer-songwriter Phil Collins. He was in the band Genesis, and then he had this whole career. And when he was a little boy in England, he loved watching old westerns about the Alamo. And so as he became more and more famous and became more and more wealthy, he would start buying up memorabilia from people, from Texans, and people that had lived in South Texas that did anything at the Alamo at any point in time. So a few years ago, he donated this wealth of Alamo memorabilia to the Alamo itself. And so they're building a Phil Collins display museum of the Alamo. But the Alamo is actually part of our mission chain in San Antonio, in which there are 5 missions: the Alamo, San Jose, San Juan Capistrano, Mission Espada, and Mission Concepcion. So those are the 5 missions. And they're a World Heritage Site. It's one of the only World Heritage Sites that we have here in the state of Texas. And you can hike the trail, you can bike the trail, or you can walk it. It's about 16 miles round trip between the Alamo down through all 5 missions. And the missions were the early signs of settler communities in South Texas. They mainly came into areas in which the Apache Native Americans were, where they had communities around what's now San Antonio. And so the 5 missions were always sources of commerce, sources of landmarks, and eventually became to be encompassed by San Antonio itself and along the San Antonio River, which is named for St. Anthony, the patron saint of all things that are lost. And in the middle of the island in the river, between the missions, you can see the statues of St. Anthony as he makes a pilgrimage along the river too. So, while the Alamo is something that on slow news days, everybody goes and just asks tourists why they think the Alamo is so small, there's actually a much bigger story and much more to explore around town. So I highly suggest you go check out the missions, the art that can be had there, and all the delicious food trucks that are around. Thanks so much.